All right. It has been far too long since I have made a video, and it was getting pretty close today, and I almost didn't make one, but I thought, you know what? It's been too long, I can make a quick one for you, so here we are back, and we're just going to do some examples right now, rather than going over some new material or teaching you new concepts. Let's just do some examples. I have an equation with two variables here, and I have a table of values. And we're going to look at taking an equation and making a table of values, and then from a table of values, making an equation. So with this equation right here, I have the variables m and n. So if I want to make a table of values from this equation, I'm going to start with that table, and now I have to choose which variable I want to put on either side. It doesn't really matter, but if I put a variable right here, it's nice to have this variable with the sample values that we want to choose. So I'm going to put n right here and m right here. Why did I choose that? Well, if we look at this equation right here, m is, as I've said, responding, or it's the output, there's lots of different ways you can think about it, to this variable n. It's depending on what the value of n is. It's nice to put values into n here, calculate it, and get an m out from that. So I'll put it this way, and if I substitute 1 into n right there, then that's going to give me 6 times 1, take away 3. And that's going to be 6 minus 3, that's just going to be 3. If I substitute 2 into this equation, 6 times 2, take away 3, that's going to be 12, take away 3, so that will be 9. Now, we see that there might be some pattern here going up by 6, but let's do another one just to see if we're correct. If I substitute the value 3 for n into this equation, I'll get 6 times 3, take away 3, which will be 6, 12, 18, take away 3, which will be 15. Ah, yes, each number is going up by 6 here for the m variable. So the next one we see is going to be 21, and the one after that is going to be 27, because those all go up by 6. So that's getting an equation, or rather a table of values from an equation. If I wanted to instead get an equation from a table of values like this one, the first step that I would want to look for is the difference between these values here, or the difference between the values for the variable that depends on the other one. You can see, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, that this variable is independent. It's the input. It's, again, lots of different ways to describe it, but this variable is depending on this one. So the change here, I see each number goes up by 4. So the change here is 4. So my equation is going to look something like y is equal to 4 times x, and then some additional piece that I might be missing. Because if I see the first number here, when x is 1, if I multiply that by 4, 4 times 1, well, that's just 4. But y is supposed to be 5, not 4. It's supposed to be 5. So what can I do? What can I add on to the end to make sure that I get to 5? Well, I add 1 there. Will this work for the next one? If my equation is 4x plus 1, well, 2 times 4 will give me 8. If I substituted that 2 in for the x, I would get 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 1, that gives me 9. So yes, this equation works for this table of values. And we'll see in the next lesson how we can actually take this table of values and this equation, and we can put it onto a coordinate plane or a Cartesian plane and graph it. And this one would look something like this. But we'll get to that this was X and this was Y. We'll get to that a little bit later. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of a show off what we're going to do a little next, give you a little bit of a heads up for where we're going. So, that's Lil Wiccan signing off, and I'll see you later.